Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, social media world. So far, this will be the third installment of videos on this new phone, Samsung Galaxy A26. Anyhow, I thought I would do this video because I was thinking about it the day and yesterday that I haven't done one of these videos in absolutely ages. But this is a subgenre my videos that are called music, what I've been listening to recently. And I have neglected this subgenre, genre, if you will, subgenre. Because it's music review, but it's also music I've been listening to recently. So, recently, right, I Right, it was not that long ago when I got Automatic People album, the famous one from REM, probably their most well-known studio album, apart from maybe two other ones. But anyhow, I got that last week or the week before, and I've been listening to it recently, and then I thought to myself, I'll try and get everything that REM have ever done, or maybe at least three or four of their best-selling albums ever, and maybe stop it at that. But I got an REM album on Tuesday called Up. Not too bad, but I'll maybe need to get another two or three listens to understand it properly. But it's nowhere near as good so far as Automatic for the People. That's definitely their best album because it's got some of their greatest hits on it. But anyhow, I've also got an album as well. Wait, I should go up the stairs and show you individual the ones that I've been listening to. Right, I'm in the apartment room slash record room slash snooker room, but we call it, well, I call it a snooker room, no, apartment room, but my mother calls it a snooker room. Because it's more a snooker room now that I've got snooker table back in it. But anyhow, I can flick through and show you what I've been listening to recently. That album, My Chemical Romance, Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge, and I'm Not Okay, I Promise is one of their best songs ever, so that's on it. And Helena, there is a chance, but don't quote me on it, that's either the first or second album. And then, they two, but I've got three of this band's albums. They're Welsh, or no wait, well they are still Welsh, but I don't think they're a band anymore. But that is a much better album. That album I got only because it looked quite weird, and I wanted to find out what Funeral for a Friend were all about. So I seen it in a magazine and I thought, oh, I'll have to get the album. And one day when I remember seeing it, I picked it up. This is the Up album that I mentioned to you earlier on. And Automatic for the People that I told you about, because I've listened to that recently as well. The Sidewinder Sleeps Tonight, that's one of their most famous ones, but I had to look up the lyrics on Saturday to find out what the chorus was all about. And then that's another one of their most famous albums. But I've not listened to that one recently, but I've listened to it, but not in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So, I've got three REM studio albums and the greatest hits. Oh, I suppose this as well. I listened to that last week or the week before. Aye, that's good, and it brought back so many happy memories. Aye, and also as well, I won't properly go into it and show you them all, because you know what they're like, but now 42, now 37, now 39... Aye, the nows, they just bring back so many happy memories for me. Even though when I properly got into music, it was from now 42 onwards, but all the songs for like the past 6 years before now 42 were still on the music channels when I was younger. I did also listen to a tiny little bit of that a couple of days ago, but no the whole album, maybe just about 5 songs, but she's Scottish and I forgot how good she actually was, so I'll need to listen to it all the way through one day. Apart from a band called The Calling that only brought out maybe one album or maybe 2, but split up and never really got the biggest heights. Apart from that Calling album, which I've got, that is one of the other most underrated albums of all time. I had an original, well, maybe not an original, but the very first copy I ever got, gave to my friend, and then I regretted it, so one day I bought it back. Sitting down here, playing my game, Unforgivable Sinners, and there is another one, I think it's So I See. No, Where I'm Heading, that's it, aye, but this one, now sitting down here, playing my game, Unforgivable Sinner, and When I'm Heading, or no, Where I'm Heading, they're the best songs on that album. And the very first time I got that album was at like a sort of, what do you call it, like a jumbo sale at the side like a St Sands Holiday Park in Edinburgh, the outskirts of Edinburgh. I really do not know why recently, because every, like, say 5 years they reckon that your music and tastes change, but recently as well, I've been listening to these 2 albums, Greatest Hits, they 2, Spice Girls, Spice, and Steps, Gold, but highlights on the Spice Girls album is Mama, oh god, there's quite a few there's new on this, it should be. What's the other? Stop is new on it, like Stop Right Now, Thank You Very Much. Oh, I can't believe that's new on it. That must be their very first ever Greatest Hits. Oh, it's absolutely mental. My favourite ever Spice Girls song's on the Greatest Hits. Or, this might not even be a Greatest Hits, this might be their first album. Or second. I have to do my research, I don't know if that's the Greatest Hits actually. I might be saying it wrong. Aye. Spice Girls Spice, aye, so as soon as I finish this video, go and do my research and see if that is a Greatest Hits. I don't think it is actually. It couldn't be. It might be first or second. But if it isn't, I'll get their Greatest Hits one day eventually. I think either a week ago or 2 weeks ago I listened to that album, and that's another one in a top 10 category that I would put into the category albums that didn't get the credit they deserve. It did technically, because one of their most well-known songs ever, Fairground, is on it, so that came out in 1995. Yeah, 1995, but that's potentially my favourite album they've ever done. It might be. I've just got to check. No, maybe first or second. It's either Stars or Life. But for nostalgic reasons, I'll say that then. Stars. Aye, but Simply Red are one of my all-time favourite bands. I've listened to that recently as well, maybe about 2 weeks ago. That was phenomenal. Aye, always is. Brings back so many happy memories and brilliant. I love how it's like a fusion of jazz, dance and pop. Aye, it's brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal. Couldn't recommend that any higher. Aye, or highly. Aye, but incredible. Right. Also, as well, one day I just really liked a certain song for an artist called Jack Johnson, and Better Together and Banana Pancakes, and I got that album that the songs are off of, and I've heard that millions of times, quite a few times this year already, and I thought I'll start trying to collect everything he's ever done, so. Oh, I've got another album there that I've not even listened to yet that's his. So I've got four, but this one's really good. Really, really good. I've listened to it twice all the way through so far and it's good. And I've only listened to that one once. It's not as good. That's the weakest one, but still good though. Very, very nice and gentle to listen to if you want to relax. Like, sort of, I would say, folky meets surfing, aye, because his music's all a bit like wanting to take care of the planet, aye. This is the album in question that I couldn't remember. The Calling Camino Palmero. Aye, that anyway, aye. But unstoppable, things changed, wherever you will go, could it be any harder? Final answer, Adrian, you're forgiven. These, no, things don't always turn out that way, just that good, thank you, stigmatized. Wherever you will go, live version, but I definitely I would say that is officially so far the greatest album that I believe doesn't get the recognition it deserves. It's that. What's to find it? Also, I've got to include this, but I've not done this for absolute ages, where I just show you loads and loads of albums that so nostalgic. Aye, one of the all-time greatest hits ever, and for like how good they were in their prime, they're slightly underrated in my opinion because they didn't get the recognition they deserve. Because if I like a band that much, and not many other people do as well, then that makes them, in my eyes, underrated. Right, I may as well, but I haven't recently, but I have before. I've listened to that album once before, but I may as well just show you it because I showed you the other two that I've got for Funeral for a Friend. What a really weird name for an album, but I'm sure Elton John sings a song called Funeral for a Friend. Right, I think I've listened to a tiny little bit of that recently, but not all the way through. Newton Falconer, but Hand Built by Robots was the album that I've listened to, but it must be in my bedroom. Oh, I'll have to include that as well. I have been listening to that quite recently, maybe about 3 weeks ago, but it was more recent. Oh, and then that's not too bad. There's like 3 good songs on it. They're maybe not quite as good as I used to remember, but there's 3 really good dance tunes on it. So, and I wanted to introduce it to someone, that's why I put it on, but he's never heard of them before. So, I don't know why though, because he would have heard it once or twice at least. Right, I may as well say this as well, right, because it's not the album I've been listening to, but there's 2 Annie Lennox CDs that I've got, and I looked up online to see what the singles were that came off of the album, and I was listening to them on YouTube recently, and I was listening to Eurythmics doing a soft version of Here Comes the Sun. No, Here Comes the Rain Again. Aye, Here Comes the Rain Again, that was it. Aye. Aye, Here Comes the Rain Again. And another one as well, but Annie Lennox is phenomenal. Oh, and I would say definitely though, apart from Eurythmics, because they did get the recognition that they deserve, but Annie Lennox is a solo artist, doesn't get the recognition that she deserves, even though her debut album called Diva did go to platinum. Twice platinum. Aye, so, oh aye, another 2 albums and then I'll finish this video. Right, I'm really glad I got this album. Right, this one, In This Moment, and it's a band, a cross between Evanescence and Nightwish, and the lead singer, the woman for that band, done a song with Papa Roach. I was really glad when I found that out, but as soon as I noticed that it looked like it would be a heavy metal band and it was a female singer, I didn't care. I just had to get it because I like that sort of thing now and again. It was quite a big thing in the late 90s, early 2000s, a rock band or a heavy metal band having a female vocalist. And then I've listened to that quite a lot recently. One side is rock and the other side is acoustic ballads or soft rock. Aye, but just an absolutely phenomenal album, and I got that on the day that it came out, and I've also got a t-shirt with In Your Honour on it. That would be absolutely incredible as a tattoo. Right, anyway, I'm definitely going to finish this video now because I've been talking for too long, but I'll just add it to the end because I want to. Right, I have been listening to that as well. That's another good album. That's one that they made on tape. Like proper old school, the way that they used to do it. And that was recorded on the same recording equipment as Nevermind and Rumours, because Dave Grohl bought the machine out of the Sound City Studios in California and then took it back to his Studio 606 and then done it on tape. Aye, right, anyway, I tape in his garage in his house. Right, bye, bye.